You are familiar with the story of the old school on the corner. When Gary discovered it was a school, he came home and he said, "Mary, we have to do something. We have to help these children." And so it began, looking for a piece of property. And we went to the comuna, what's that in English? I guess the county, the city council here in Chongqing. And they offered Gary a piece of property that is now where the houses are being built, and it was in a low area. It would have been a nightmare during the monsoons, and he said, obviously they don't care that much. So he said, I'm not going to do that, I'll go find property myself. So we started asking around. And it was said to us that there was an older couple who wanted to retire and sell their property. So we went to visit them, and it was kind of like walking through the mosquito swamp, the house, the pigs, the chickens, the dogs, and all the critters. I mean, it was awful. And we had a very friendly conversation with them. But he couldn't decide. I don't know. And so we went looking elsewhere. Then we go back again, see if he changed his mind. I don't know. And this older gentleman must have been in his 70s, and his wife wanted a nice home with a real kitchen. So we asked again, I don't know. And then we said, what is it that you want? What will cause you to sell us your property? And he said, I want a motorbike. So Gary and I drove down to Guayaquil, bought him a bike for $900, put it in the back of the truck, brought it up to him, and he sold us his property. That's how we got this property right here. But it was so swampy, and there were so many mosquitoes. And I remember walking under the mango trees over here and just thinking, this is a nightmare. And I said, Gary, how are you going to build here? And he looked at me like, well, Mary, can't you see what we're going to do? He said, I'll just drain it. I'll bring the equipment from the farm and I'll level it and drain it and clean it all up, and he did. And then he drew the plans. I think you've seen pictures where we were standing with the architect. Maybe you don't know, but Gary drew the plans for everything that we have in the world. He was a great draftsman, and after he drew the plans, then he would give them to the architect to blue line. So he drew the designs for the building, and many times when we would leave, we'd walk out and stand by the fence and we'd look at the cacao field. It's not what you're seeing because they've taken the cacao trees out. And so you're seeing this beautiful sports field. But all we saw were cacao plants, trees, bushes. They were not well taken care of. Many of them were dead. It was very pathetic. And he would say, Mary, someday I'm going to own this property. And I said, why? And he said, well, I'm going to build a university. And I went, oh. Another one of Gary's big dreams. Nikki heard it. Andrea heard it. We all know that that's what Gary said. Well, Gary passed before we acquired that property, but it came up for sale. And I have to say, Andrea did all of the legwork, the negotiation. I mean, she made it happen. And so we bought that property. Well, the first thing she does is she takes out some of the cacao trees so she can build a sports arena for the kids, a sports field. And I'm thinking, well, maybe there's enough room. We could build a couple of colleges or something like that. But it's like that vision that Gary had, it was becoming a reality. About a year ago, no, maybe 2 years ago, Andrea says, hey Mary, the lady next door wants to sell her property and the Comuna wants it, but she wants to sell it to us. And I said, well, do you think we could buy it? I said, tell her when I'm going to be here and we'll sit down and visit with her. Well, Andrea was really fast moving. And, you know, with the fun, loving personality that she has, she connected easily with this lady. And we went back and forth, a lot of talk, the leadership at Young Living, and they said, well, I don't know if we want to spend the money on that. And I said, look, you see, they don't see. But we see all of this housing being built, all the construction, and everybody's grabbing land everywhere. And I said, if we don't buy this now, it will be gone. And there will not be any more land that we can buy. And I want that land. So I made it happen. So we own all of this to the little road. Tomorrow when you go to the finca, when you drive past the academy, just look for the road that turns off. That's the road that is the frontier, the borderline for the property. And Andrea and Nikki were talking about, well, what should we do? Well, they said, let's start as a technical college, because it doesn't cost us much money and it's easier to do. And then once we become a technical college, then we can go down that road if we want to. So Gary's vision is going to come to life here. And you're all going to be part of that, because you're going to be hearing about it. You may be coming back. You may be sending your students. We want to create a study abroad type of program where people from the outside come here, and we in Ecuador go to the outside. We want to give them that exposure. It's very interesting. Joseph is attending Snow College in Utah right now, and we discovered that they have an Ecuadorian program, exchange program, and they have several Ecuadorian students who are in school at Snow College in Ephraim, Utah. So Nikki met with the president of the college. She came to our office and she's very excited. So we'll see how it goes, but it's very possible that we'll start an exchange program. So it's going to be fun for all of us to watch how that develops. But Gary had this amazing vision, and whenever he decided he was going to do something, and he started heading in that direction, he could see it finished. Once he had the vision, the idea, he saw it completed. The rest of us are trying to figure out how to get started. And it was a challenge always with Gary, because he was so fast thinking and so fast moving, and he wanted everything for everybody. And the school was basically built. This school here was built for 42 students. And the 42 students were the 42 that went to that little wretched school on the corner where you turn to come to the academy. He had hired Andrea as a therapist at Nova Vito, which was in Guayaquil, in Ordesa, which is a business district of Guayaquil. And he went to Andrea and he said, hey Andrea, do you think you could run a school? And Andrea, you know, she's all positive and everything. She said, yeah, sure. And she didn't know anything what she was doing. But she was excited. And as she said to me yesterday, well, I moved really fast to see how you run a school. But I remember she called me and said, Mary, I don't know what to do. We have so many students who want to come. We already have like over 60 students, and it's only built for 42. And I said, well, you figure it out. Don't turn them away. And so we cut all of our classrooms in half, a little bit like sardines, but we made it possible for all those children to come to the school. We didn't want to turn one child away. And now where are we? We're at 350. And that is our number. And Andrea says, well, you know, we got so many children who want to come and we have to turn so many away, as you can read in the little brochure. And she said, what if we expand and make it possible for 500 students? Well, we were all in agreement, so we started putting the word out, and donations have come, people want to help, and you're going to hear about that a little bit later. But a lot of exciting things have happened because of you. You are so important to these children. You're the ones who can make it happen. And it's fun to see that excitement in their eyes. They are so grateful, and they don't understand the tremendous commitment. They don't understand what the sacrifice is, but they give 100%, as you have seen. They're diligent in their learning. And as Gary always said, we have to take care of the children because they are the future of this country. And if we don't have them growing up learning good, honest, moral values, we're going to just have more corruption like you see around the world in governments. So this is our way of fighting government corruption, fighting corruption everywhere, to teach the children how to be resourceful, how to build an honest life, how to live as an example. And you've seen it, you've watched them. It's just a thrill to see them grow up and become responsible adults. The young man who was the mascot, the tall monkey, he graduated from the academy. He went to college, graduated as an engineer, and he's been working as an engineer for 2 years now. Those kinds of things. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But don't forget how important you are. And we are so grateful that you come and you share with us, because we get excited for you to come. We love having you here. The teachers, you can see how wonderful they are. Everybody is so grateful, but if you weren't here, they wouldn't have jobs. We wouldn't have this beautiful academy for the children of Chongqing who would not have much opportunity. The average graduation of most schools in Ecuador is about 20%. At Young Living Academy, it's 100%. And if there's a child lagging behind, then the teachers band together to help that child, to make sure that child graduates. I had an interesting experience in the early days of the school. There were 2 girls who lived with a very abusive father. And he would make them walk from out beyond the finca up to Chongqing to buy him food and then walk back. And if they made it to school, it didn't matter to him. But he was physically abusive. And when Gary heard about it, he got really mad. Gary and I we're so much alike, but we're always the defender of the underdog, the freedom fighters. Fight for what's right, fight for what's honest, fight for what builds people and makes them better. And he just could not tolerate any child being abused and not having the opportunity that we were offering. So we hopped in the car with the lady who was the principal of the school at that time, and we drove down to his house. And he was shocked when he saw us, and when we walked in, through the translation, he was told that if he hit one of the girls again, Gary would be back. And he didn't want Gary to come back. Gary was broad, strong, but he spoke with so much power. He spoke with a knowing. He spoke with intention. And when he spoke, you listened and you didn't say no. So we left. We took the girls with us. We took them out of the home, and they stayed here with us in the house that you will see at the farm, and we took care of them for 4 or 5 days until Child Protective Services came. And then they worked with the father. The end of the story is, these girls were middle teenagers with a 2nd and 3rd grade education. So the teachers came together, worked with the students, with these 2 girls, helped get their grades up so they could graduate with their class. And they worked with the father, and the father, about a year later, maybe it was 2 years later, I don't quite remember, but we were driving out to the farm, and he came on his bicycle, driving past us, waving his hand. And as Andrea tells the story, he came, he works here at the academy, he helps. He's a completely changed individual because Gary cared enough about those girls to protect them. It's an amazing story, but we see things like that. We had a young man who was trying to peddle drugs here at the school. Oh my gosh, I thought Gary was going to run us off the road driving down here. He was so mad. And he came in, he was pretty calm, you know, the saying, it's never eaten as hot as it's cooked. Gary used to say that to me because I'm reactionary. Well, he was reacting. And when he got here to the school, he talked to the young man and he said, leave now and you cannot come back. You are done here at the academy. Well, the parents came and tried to talk Gary into letting their son stay in the school. And Gary said, no, I do not tolerate this in my school. And as you know, the children do not have sugar, pride, it's all natural, it's clean. So they have to be treated the best. No smoking, no drinking, no drugs, no bullying. And you can see it's peaceful. The older ones help the younger ones. They don't beat up on them. They're not mean. They're not hard. And you see that in schools all over the world. So the young man came back again and begged Gary. And Gary said, no, I told you. I don't give second chances for things like that. Well, as Gary thought about it, he got a little softer. And he said, I tell you what. If you will go to the finca and work as an apprentice in one of the departments, and you do well, upon their recommendation, I will let you come back. He came back the next year, a changed young man, and he graduated from the academy. Those are stories that you will never hear, but those are things that we do. Andrea went the extra mile during the shutdown of the pandemic, and she made sure all the children had computers where they could do online school. Do you know what a mammoth undertaking that is down here in little Changoncito? It's not easy. And when we come down, we always bring computers for the school, for Nova Vita, for Finca. We're always bringing things to help. So we appreciate all that you bring. Bringing yourselves, the gifts that you bring for the children, it means so much to them. So enjoy the rest of your time here. And just soak in the energy that's here. You will be so uplifted and go out excited for another new wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Mary. So Mary alluded to the expansion that we've got going. So did you guys enjoy your experience today? You think these kids are getting a pretty good education? Yeah, amazing, right? Teaching sustainability principles, conservation principles, character building, critical thinking. I mean, we're developing leaders very, very actively, day in and day out. And we have a very long waiting list to get admitted to Young Living Academy because we want to offer a spot to the most disadvantaged kids in the community. Well, we would like to expand that, and we would like your help. So I am announcing now that we are launching an expansion program that's going to be multiple years long because we like things to be sustainable. Well, actually, sometimes we go really fast at Young Living, but we're going to make this one sustainable. Not that other ones aren't, but we currently have 350 kids in pre-K through 12th grade. We want to double in size and have 2 classes per every grade. So we'll go grade by grade. So we'll start with a couple of grades and do a couple of new classes every year until we are completely full to capacity. And so we're launching this initiative. Well, we've grown in the past, but this is our commitment to having 2 classrooms for every grade. And you guys are gonna be part of it, okay? All right. We had a very large donation given to kickstart the building of the new building that will support these kids. And that donation came from Miss Gretchen King. And will you stand up, Gretchen? You and your mother? So Gretchen made a large donation in the name of her late auntie, grand aunt. And so we want to honor that, and we are going to build a new building just over here where you'll see some tape. We're about to do a ribbon cutting of it. And if you guys would like to get your teams involved as well, we are part of the fundraiser. Are there bricks on these screens right now? Okay. So if you make a donation of $1,000 or more, your name will be on a brick that will be shown. There will be a wall of donors on this new building. The building will have a plaque in Gretchen's name, and you all have a chance to have a brick in your name as well. And we would like to create a brick for this retreat, okay? Does that sound good? No, I'm sorry, we're going bigger than that, than a brick. We're doing a classroom in the name, with a little plaque on one of the classrooms in the name of Platinum Retreat 2024. Our goal for that is $10,000. You guys think we can do it? Andrea thinks we can do it. Joseph thinks we can do it. All right, let's go. All right, so we are, if you open your little pamphlet that you got from doing the stations here, there's a QR code. We are very tech savvy around here at Young Living Academy. So you can go ahead and donate right there. You can donate all weekend or whatever day we're on, and until the end of the retreat. You can donate after that too. But let's meet that goal so we can get a classroom named in after Platinum Retreat 2024. All right, last but not least, if you sponsored a child today or yesterday, and you would like to have a sponsorship visit with your sponsored child on Saturday, if you'd like to come here and visit with their families, with your sponsored child and their families, please come to our sponsor a student table so we can get the details coordinated, so we can make sure that those families are here and that child's here if you would like to do that on Saturday, okay? All right, we're all going to head over now to do a quick ribbon cutting, and then you will have free time. The kids are going to come out of their classes here in a few minutes. You'll have free time until 3 p.m. when we'll load the buses back up and head back to the Hilton. Thank you all.
Okay. Yep. 1, 2, 3.
New expansion of the academy.
Thank you.
呢個係Young Living Academy 嘅擴大嗰個 Juga maksud itu